you aren't playing the game of life, and that's why you're not succeeding at life. Right? So every day you walk outside of your doorstep or you walk outside of your home, you are playing a game, okay? Whether it's your career, whether it's education, in your relationship, in your friendships, in general, every day it's a game, okay? And you must compete. So, in order to succeed at the game of life, you must first identify what is my prize. And then, secondly, you need to identify the rules of the game. And are you playing the rules of the game? So, let's get into it. So, you need to first choose your prize. So, your prize, when we play games, you know, if you're competing for something, you automatically think, okay, there's first place, second place, third place, right? There's also bracket plays. There's different brackets. There's bronze, gold, silver medals, things like that. These are all prizes. And you need to first decide, okay, in life, what do I want my prize to be? Do I want my prize to be marriage with kids and a nice home and a nice picket fence? Do I want my prize to be a private jet, with a G-Wagon and a luxury lifestyle? Do I want my prize to be peace, happiness, serenity? I want to live in the country. I want, a big farmland, acres of land. Do I want my prize to be the best body there is? Do I want my prize to be a womanizer, to be a bachelor? What is your prize? You need to identify what is your prize to you, and only you can identify what that prize is, right? So most people, they want to get married, they want to be successful and live a very humble about life. They want to have like enough money to go on trips. They want to have kids. Some people, they want to be rich. That is their prize. Now that you have identified what is my prize, another way of saying, what is your goals in life? What is the ultimate life goal that you want to accomplish, right? What is your dream life? Now that you have established that, so now it's time to learn the rules of the game. So in order to get into these certain spaces that are going to fulfill yourself and your destiny and what you want to do for getting there to that prize, I can't speak. You need to first decide, okay, what are the rules? Now, if you're going to live a luxury lifestyle, be in private jets and, maybe carry the nicest clothes and live in the large house and things like that, now you got to play the game of the rich. And the rich are very strict when it comes to playing the game. You need to not only brush shoulders, but you need to figure out how they live. What do they do in their free time? Who knows who? How can I know that person as well? How can I infiltrate these spaces? How can I learn to speak like them, walk like them, talk like them? The good thing about playing the game of life is no rule needs to be rewritten. Every rule has already been established for you. We are in 2025. All you have to do is follow somebody's playbook to get you to where you want to go to. Because you're not the first person to want to ride in the private jet. You're not the first person to want to live in a mansion. You're not the first person to want a husband and kids. You're not the first person to want a beautiful wife and kids. You're not the first person. There's millions and millions of people that have been on this earth. You're not the first person. So all you have to do is follow the rule book that has already been laid out for you, right? And there are millions of people on social media every day talking about how to fulfill these life goals that you are desiring to live. Now that you have your prize, okay, your prize is basically aka your goals. What is it that you want to accomplish in life? And now you also have what are the rules for accomplishing that specific life, meaning what are the rules of that game that you're playing. Just like if you were to go and buy a board game of Monopoly, there are rules to play Monopoly. I can't play Monopoly the same way I play Candyland, the same way if I can't play basketball the same way I play football. There are rules to each game. Okay, cool. We got a prize and we got the rules. Now, there are 3 aspects of accomplishing success within the game of life. And these 3 aspects and principles are going to apply to whatever your goal or your prize is that you are desiring. You ready for them? They are your comfortability level. Are you willing to be uncomfortable? They are how well you compete. Are you competing in life? And last but never least, they are your community. These three principles will help to elevate you further than anything else in life. Once you master these three, competition, comfortability, and community, you're playing the game of life, babes. And you're probably going to be ahead, not probably, you're going to be ahead of most people, because most people are just out here making decisions. They don't know where they're going. They have no direction. And to play the game of life, you need to know the direction, but you need to be strategic about knowing which direction is going to get you to that prize, right? Because no one wants to be playing a game forever with no one winning. We want to win. You should want to win, right? So let's get into it. So let's first talk about competition. And a lot of people are scared of this word. I don't know why people don't like to compete. We have been trained mentally and physically to compete since we were a child. You know, we race and things like beauty pageants and sports. All of these different aspects have taught us that we need to compete. You know, we are all built with our own strengths throughout life. Some of us are prettier than others. Some of us are, you know, not so attractive than others. Some of us are more physically built than others. Some of us are taller. Some of us are shorter. Some of us are born into families with more money. Like, everybody has their own different aspects that they were born into with their family. And so now you have to identify those strengths. How can I turn these aspects of what I was born into, and how can I turn them into strengths? And you need to learn how to identify your weaknesses and how to manipulate your weaknesses to appear as strengths or to become strengths. So you need to first assess your life. What is it that I could use to get myself to the prize, right? If you want to be a WNBA player or NBA player, right, you gonna need some height on you, baby. I want you to look up the statistics of people being less than 5'9", you know, maybe 5'8", 5'7", 5'6", and being an NBA or WNBA. Not gonna happen. Them girls and guys are giants, right? So you need some height on you. Well, if you don't have height on you, then it's a very slim chance of you going to the WNBA in the NBA, right? So that might not be the prize for you. However, if you are shorter in stature, you could be a trainer. Why? Because no one cares if you are yay high or, you know, yay low. If you're a trainer, all you need to be able to do is, if you know how to convince someone or how to teach someone how to shoot a jump shot, how to dribble, how to play defense, then boom. No one cares about that. And you can train the people that are in the WNBA and NBA. That could be your prize or your way of getting to that prize, right? I don't know if y'all are following me, but I'm going to use a lot of analogies today. So, competition, you must compete to succeed, right? When I go out into the world, you see me doing my makeup, you see me doing my hair, I'm getting dressed. Every day I get dressed because I'm competing in the world. I know that there are millions of other people out there, and I have to not only look my best, but I know that if I look my best, I'm going to do my best. If I do my best, I get paid my best. And when I get paid my best, I feel my best, right? Because when I look good and I'm paid good, I feel good, right? So that is my standard for life. You need to come up with your own standards, and then you need to go out in the world and compete by those. So one of my strengths is I'm a good talker. I can talk to literally anybody. I'm also very good at analyzing people and their emotions and reading body language. That is something that I not only study, I read about, and I just enjoy watching people. I enjoy people watching. I'm very good at analyzing someone. So the two things, strength and the fact that I'm good at analyzing people by their body language or by their facial expressions, that is a strength to me. Now, when it comes to weaknesses, I won't get on here and say my weaknesses. However, I have learned to cultivate them and associate them with my strengths. So because I'm a good talker, I am not afraid to bring up my weaknesses in conversations with people. Now, I'm not going to tell y'all, but in real life, I will literally tell somebody before they can sense it out of me. I'll tell them, yeah, this is my weakness. This is what I struggle with. I don't mind being vulnerable with them. Okay. And it makes people have a sort of connection with you, right? And it's not necessarily a fake connection, but you want to build connections. That's part of the community aspect we're going to talk about later. But this helps you to compete, right? When you can go on to, let's say you're at a basketball tryout. I'm going to keep using basketball because I play basketball. Let's say you're at a basketball tryout and you're scoping everybody else and you're trying to make the team, right? You're looking at everybody's, playing field. Where are you at on the playing field, right? The best way to outwork the competition is to make the competition think that you are right there along with them. Right there. You need to make sure that y'all are neck and neck. And then boom, go ahead them. That's how you don't naturally start off like if you're running track, you don't start off going, you keep a moderate pace with everybody, and then when you're on that last 400 running, that's when you skirt off, right? A lot of sports. I watch a lot of sports, so that's what we'll be talking about today, is a lot of sports. But you don't show the competition all of your strengths and your weaknesses at once. You need to let the competition think that you are one and the same with them. That is how you compete. The best way to compete in life is to make sure that the competition thinks that you're neck and neck with them, that you're same intelligence level, same vocabulary, same beauty, you need to be relatable. Robert Greene has a principle in 48 Laws of Power, is never outshine the master. And also, it's another one that speaks on the fact that you shouldn't appear too perfect, right? Because when you appear too perfect, people gun it out for you, and you can't compete when you have people that are gunning out for you. But if you try to make it seem like you're at the same playing level as other people, that you know that you are above, they're not going to sniff you out. Most people aren't intelligent enough to sniff that out, right? But when the opportunity arises and when it comes, you need to learn and be able to recognize and identify, this is the time when I go past them and I go to the finish line, go to the end of the race, right? That's how you do it. You don't outshine the master, and you don't appear too perfect. So get on camera, maybe show them, yeah, I got a pimple. Yeah, my edge is a little nappy, you know what I'm saying? Because the competition, you don't want to ever appear too perfect. Anyways, so you need to be able to compete with your vocabulary. You need to compete with your health and fitness. You need to always make sure you're in shape. This is one of those aspects that really got me. For years, I did not compete in life because I was overweight. I still am a little overweight, but I've lost 40 pounds since 2022. And it's helped me to get back out there in the job market and in the dating world to compete with others. Now, as women, we especially are very competitive by nature. A lot of women will tell you that you're not supposed to compete, but it's in our nature to compete. We're animalistic people. I don't know why people act as though that is not true, but hey, we know women. But you need to go out there and compete by your body. You need to go out there and compete by your beauty. Women should now know that when we are beautiful, or when we appear to be beautiful, as well as being fit, as well as being intelligent, that means that you are unstoppable. You are now competing with everybody else, and you can succeed in a manner that most don't. 80% of our society is overweight. As Black women, over 70% of Black women are overweight. So just by you being a Black woman and you going out there and working on your health and fitness, you are now over the competition, right? You can get into rooms that most Black women can't. You can get the men that some Black women can't, okay? Cool. And if you are other races, I don't know, look up your statistics. I only know Black women. Why? Because I'm Black. So that's another way to compete, is by your looks, but your intelligence needs to be there as well. When you go into rooms, you need to not only shock people with your vocabulary, but throw in a few words that might make them like, oh, that was a nice usage of the word. But anyways, everywhere you go, you need to know that you're competing. When you go to that job, you're competing. When you go into that relationship, you are competing. Why? Because even though you are in a relationship with this man or whatever, if he has not put a ring on it, baby, you're still competing. Because if you were the prize, the prizes get rings, right? So if you have not gotten a ring with that man, then just know that you are still competing and you need to still be playing the game. So yes, competition. If you want to succeed in life, if you want to succeed towards your prize or towards your goal, you need to compete. How do you compete? Well, it depends on your prize. It depends on your goals, right? Everybody doesn't want to be, rich or beautiful or whatever, or the most fit, which you should. I always think you should be fit. That's up to you. Now, you don't have to be, but everybody doesn't want that. But you need to accommodate your rules for the game based off of your prize. What is it that you want? So we got competition down. Next, comfortability. Now this one gets people, right? Because if people definitely don't want to compete, they definitely are comfortable. Most people who aren't competing in life are comfortable. They're comfortable living paycheck to paycheck. They're comfortable struggling. They're comfortable being overweight. They're comfortable doing average activities every single day, every single weekend. Why? Because that shows a lot about their comfortability level. Most people who are uncomfortable are competing in life. So they kind of go hand in hand, comfortability, competition. If you want to outwork others that are playing the same game that you are playing, you need to learn how to be uncomfortable. You need to learn how to be uncomfortable with your income and learn how to deal with uncomfortability when it comes to your relationships with people. You need to learn how to be uncomfortable with making money, things of that nature. Every successful person who has ever shared their success story has said that they were uncomfortable. Whether they didn't sell something for years, or they started on a small little basement like Jeff Bezos did with Amazon. Everybody has had some type of uncomfortability, even with Oprah, and she says that she got fired. You have to be able to deal with the uncomfortability. Now, when you deal with the uncomfortability, now, how do I make myself comfortable in this situation while aiming towards that prize while I'm playing the game? Again, this will all depend on you and what you desire in life and your end goal. So when it comes to uncomfortability, a lot of the rules are going to be misconstrued. Why? Because you're going to need to take risks now. In order to go from being uncomfortable to comfortable in a success manner, you need to learn how to take risks. And risk equals reward. Risk equals reward. So, in order to take risks, well, it's not going to make sense to everybody. You can't tell everybody what you're doing. You can't even ask people for advice when you're taking risks because everybody's not going to understand. I'm sure when Jeff Bezos was making his business plan for Amazon, you know, he's probably telling people, oh, I want to make the biggest, largest e-commerce store online, or whatever his business plan was. People are probably looking at him like, sir, this is the 1990s, 1980s. What are you talking about? You know, it's not going to make sense to people, and it's uncomfortable to chase your dreams. It's uncomfortable to be successful. Why? Because you're vulnerable. It leaves you in a state of vulnerability because you don't know the outcomes, right? If I were to, or not if I were, I'm starting a YouTube channel. I would love to be monetized. I would love to one day have millions of followers, right? And I'm going to speak into existence that it will happen. But the uncomfortability of sitting here talking to this camera and editing videos for 81 subscribers is that I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen a year from now, right? So it's uncomfortable to not know. And that's why a lot of people don't do what they're supposed to do, because of that uncomfortable of not knowing. We want to live in a society where we know and things are guaranteed. You know, hence why people go to college. If I go to college for 4 years, I know I'm gonna get my bachelor's. And then if I go another 2 years, I know I'm gonna get my master's. Even though it's hard, I still know that this is going to happen for me. Why? Because it's all been laid out. But when you start a business, you don't know where your business can flow. You could be making $100 today, and then tomorrow, and for the next few weeks, you can only make $5. And then in 10 years, you're making $20,000 a day. It really is the uncomfortability that gets people and that makes them give up on going and playing the game of life to get to their prize. So now that you're competing and that you've identified, okay, I need to get uncomfortable. How can I get uncomfortable? Because comfort is not going to get me to where I need to be. Comfortable is why people are overweight. Comfortable is why people are okay with working a dead-end job. Comfortable is why people are okay with going out the house in bonnets and things like that. So now that you have identified that, now it's time to really play the game. Community. Say it with me, community. People, everybody around us. Now, you need to learn how to utilize your community to help you succeed in life. Okay? Everybody has a community. If you don't have a community, that means that you're not putting yourself out there. And if you're not putting yourself out there, then you have some work to do, right? Because it's easy to do so. I mean, you just need to go out and talk to people. The great thing about community and the great thing about being born in 2025 is that the books have already been written. The interview has already been done. Like I said in the beginning of this video, no prize has not been won already, right? People have already run the prize and played the game that you want to play. So what you need to do is go watch those people and see what they did, study them, analyze them, maybe see what didn't work or what did work, and apply that to you and your life and your prize. That easy, huh? So you need to first watch them, analyze them. Okay, if you want to start a coffee shop, just like how the guy from Starbucks did, you need to first analyze his first few years before he got to success. You need to say, this didn't work for him. He was doing this. He wasn't doing this. He wasn't marketing himself. Or maybe it was just the fact that he didn't have social media to market his coffee company, right? So you can utilize the information that you get from him telling his story to help you to vitalize your process. Now, everything has already been written. All the information has already been written. It's about how you apply the information. Now that you have looked at people that have been in the position that you want to go in, or that you have read their books or whatever, now you need to build community. You need to have connections. You need to be brushing shoulders with people. And if you want to live a certain life, you need to get in the spaces where people are living that certain life. Meaning, if you want to live a rural life, with farms and tractors and stuff, you need to go out there to the farmland, baby. You need to be on FM 50, road 50, right? If you want to live in the riches, you want to live a luxury lifestyle, a rich lifestyle, a millionaire lifestyle, then guess what? You need to be around those people. You need to brush shoulders. You need to infiltrate their communities. See how they live. See how they walk and talk, what they do on a daily basis. And social media has made it easy because these people that are millionaires and billionaires, maybe not billionaires, but millionaires, they are online giving out game for free. I could literally go online and find heavy on reputable sources of people who are millionaires and how they got from A to Z. And I can, again, analyze and study what I should and should not be doing based off of what they told me. So you need to infiltrate that community. You need to find out, okay, how can I get connections and network within this community? How can I get these people to know who I am so that I can get further in by playing the game of life? Now, remember what I said in the beginning. Well, when you're at that race and you're competing in all this other glory, you want to always be right here. Never outshine the master. Never outshine the master, right? And you never want to appear too perfect. You want to be a student. Don't be afraid of being a student at first to play the game of life. Even when you ever play like a card game or something with someone who's like, oh, I've never played Uno, and you explain the rules to them and then they end up beating you. You like, now wait a minute. Hold up. What's going on? I thought you never played this game. I'm like, no, I haven't. But everybody has different intelligence levels and everybody comes from different backgrounds and everybody has different ways of computing and thinking about things. So you might have told them, okay, this is how you do it. And then from their lens, they might like, oh, I can use this strategy. And you weren't even thinking that. They might outshine you. But the thing is, when you're getting into these spaces, until you are sure that you can successfully outshine that master, you don't do it. You stay at that field, you stay a student, and then that is when you can surpass the teacher, okay? But you need to make sure that you are actually ready before you try to surpass people who are masters or teachers in the community that you are building, because you never know people's intentions. And again, like I said in the beginning, we are all competing. There's a prize at the end of all of this. And while your prize may be different from someone else, people want a prize. Most people want a prize, especially when they're at certain levels of life. They're going to want a prize. So yeah, you need to also look at people's, when you're building community for the game of life, you're playing the game of life and you're building community so that you can one day be successful and get your prize. You need to understand other people's prize. what is it that they're competing for? Because you know what you're competing for, but what is it that they're competing for? This will help you to understand them and understand the advice that they're going to give you. Okay. Now let's say that you want to be one day be a millionaire, and you found someone who is very close or very good with money. They are a financial advisor or something of those sorts, and they're telling you all this information. You need to make sure that the advice that they are giving you is going to be sustainable and help you, because you don't want to outgrow the advice that they're giving you. Like, let's say they're like, oh, like, what's a good example of this? You need to make sure they have the same intentions. Let me say that. So if the person that's coaching you only is okay with making $100,000 and you want to make $1 million, that means you chose the wrong coach. You need to make sure that you have people around you that are playing for the same prize as you. That doesn't make sense. Like, let's say basketball reference again, or football. Let's do football. So let's say that you want to be a successful quarterback, but the person that is your coach, they never made it past high school, but you want to go into the NFL. Do you think that they have the wits and not even the wits, the skills and the training and the knowledge to get you to where you need to get to? Maybe, but there's a higher chance that there's somebody out there that does, that has been in the NFL, and that could probably get you there a little bit faster with the techniques that they've already learned through playing the game, right? They've already played the game. You need to go out around people who have already played the game, because they know the rules of the game. They know shortcuts. They know how to monopolize and all that kind of stuff. So in this video, I hope you learned something, or I hope it opened your eyes, but you must always be competing. You must always learn how to deal with uncomfortability, the uncomfortability that is required when you are trying to be successful. And you need to make sure that you are always building some type of community, because community is going to help you get to where you need to get to. Because like I said, no rule has just been written in 2025. No rule. There is a famous book that I like reading. It's by Florence Scovel Shinn, and it's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And that's literally where I got this, because so many people are going out into life not playing the game, and they are, ashamed and making all these like horrible decisions. And it's like, well, you didn't see how other people play the game, and you didn't think in your head like, I would never do that, because I'm the queen of that saying. I will always be like, oh girl, I would never. And I don't, because the rules have already, I don't need to be told that if I lay up with a man that I'm in a relationship with for years, and we do certain activities, that I could potentially become his baby mother without a ring. Like, no one has to tell me that. I don't need to go out and play that game for me to know that that's the prize. The prize would be becoming a baby mother. I see that. I've seen that decades, so I'm not going to indulge in activities and play games that I don't want the prize of. Simple. So you need to go out there and make sure that you're competing, making sure that you're playing the game, making sure that you are aligning with the prize that you want in life, and making sure that it makes sense for who you are, and making sure that you're doing everything you can to make sure you get to that prize. But everything is happening simultaneously, so it's very hard to keep up with all three aspects: community, comfortability, and competition. But the more you play the game, the better you'll get at it. And I want you to think of those three aspects and those principles while you're watching someone's success story. Think about how their community affected them. Think about how uncomfortable they were while climbing the road to success and playing the game. Think about how they competed in life, how their business plan maybe stood out, or how their marketing stood out, or how their personality and their aura stood out, right? Everybody is always mastering these three principles. And once you master them, and I'm still in the process of mastering them myself, but once you master them, you're playing the game. You're playing the game correctly. This is all a game, and you need to make sure that you are not being tricked out your spot, that you are not being outworked, because every day somebody fails at the game of life. Every day. But don't let it be you. All right, I'm about to finish my hair and makeup, but I just wanted to talk on this topic with you all. I hope you are blessed. Go out there and play the game. Go out there and compete. Go be uncomfortable until you succeed, and also build up your community. I couldn't talk. I don't know why I can't talk today. I just get so excited sometimes when I talk. But Follow me on TikTok, The Arian Show. Follow me on Instagram at ArianHelm. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. How you feel about this video, and also make sure you go visit my website, ArianHelm.com, and interact and mingle with me. And I will catch y'all next time. Bye.